Style isn't something you're born with. I should know. I was born perfect. This is from years of struggling out there in the streets, in the fields, getting laughed at, deciding what you're going to wear isn't just a dummy's job, it's a genius's job. My name's Christian Shabetta, and this is my masterclass. Friends, welcome back to the Brave New Wear Show. My name's Christian. Today, I'm starting on a new series of advanced aesthetics. If you're one of my regular subscribers, you probably are already very interested in fashion and already make meditated choices on what you wear and how you style yourself. Be that as it may, I think that there is an incredible room for growth as we continue to establish and define how we dress and why we choose the garments that we choose. One of the reasons I wanted to create this series and this first video is because it's a subject that I think I could personally benefit from. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, so you're not an expert then. If you haven't already done it, why are you trying to teach us about it? For one, I did study art history in college, and I have been working in fashion for the last couple of years. So I do have some background or understanding of visual mediums. Number 2, I'm making the YouTube video. Number 3, I think there is an immense amount that we can learn together if I'm also going through the process while you guys watch these videos. This is why it's kind of relevant. It's not as if I don't understand fashion. It's not as if I haven't been paying attention to it for years. If we look at my Instagram right now, there isn't a definitive understanding of exactly what I am expressing or what my style and vision is about. Do you have a vision or an idea? Are you expressing everything that is true and righteous about yourself? Now, defining an aesthetic is something that I think people spend their entire lives doing. It's something that artists struggle to do for decades. So it's not something that comes easy. And since this is kind of like the introductory video, I will go over some kind of ground rules that I think will be relevant as we kind of talk about these aesthetic ideas. The first one is the Ira Glass theory about art. And we can apply this to podcasts and we can apply it to style. To paraphrase Ira Glass, he says this, essentially. When you start off trying to create something, you can have really good taste. You can know all the people who do it best, and you can love them and admire them. And there's something really important and relevant about being in that spot.
All of us who do creative work, we get into it, and we get into it because we have good taste. But it's like there's a gap, that for the first couple years that you're making stuff, what you're making isn't so good.
You will find that for years even, you're not matching up to your idols. You're not creating at the level that you wish you could be. And that's fine. That's the first thing I want to start out with. It is okay that you're not creating your aesthetic or style in the way that exactly you want it to. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't at least be trying. You can only get better at something by doing it. I truly believe that. The second one, which is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, learned helplessness. I think it would be natural for us to think about fashion, especially if you're somebody like me, or you're younger, or you just don't have money, and you think about a lot of style and fashion, you think, I can't afford to do the things that I want to do. Let's drop that idea for the most part. As long as we're telling ourselves that we can't do X, we'll never figure out a way to accomplish it. There are so many different ways that will be possible to accomplish our aesthetic goals, and we just need to have the mindset that if we think about it, if we be creative, if we try different things, eventually we can reach that place. Here's an example. You guys watched my last video, and thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. We've got this Dickies jacket. I did wash it, a little wrinkly. If I thought that I couldn't get another boxy jacket like my famous navy boxy jacket, unless I had more money, unless I bought like an expensive designer item like a La Mer or something like that, then maybe that would be it. I'd say, well, I wish I could get another jacket like that, but I just can't. I would have never considered, realistically, that maybe I should just try buying a jacket and altering it, which I'm going to do in a future video. Be patient with the fact that we're going to be slow and we're going to be clunky at first, but don't let that limit yourself. Don't tell yourself you can't do X, Y, or Z because it's just impossible. You don't have the resources. It's important for us to be creative enough to figure out a way to figure out a way. Essentially, we're creating our own blueprint or groundwork for the choices that we'll continue to make, whether that is picking up a new garment or kind of deciding how we want the pieces in our wardrobe to work. That's why we're essentially trying to work together to create our own personal aesthetics. And this is related to what I discussed before, but nothing lasts forever. If we're too afraid to make choices or to experiment with things, then we might never find something that really works or really vibes with us or really just feels right. Be willing to experiment and be willing to accept that the pictures that you took this year or 2 years ago or whenever you see them in the future might look ridiculous. The outfits that you try to flex in might be bad fits. But if we do not try, we'll never know. We'll never know if we could have been something. We've got to be willing to look foolish if it means creating something cool and unique and defined in the end. Lastly, before we totally dive into today's lesson, the other thing I want to say is trends still matter. Fashion still matters. Now, of course, we are creating the guidelines for our distinctive aesthetic. We're creating the rules for what we want to establish is our look. But that does not mean we are going to ignore trends. The types of artists and the types of stylists that completely ignore trends are going to be left out in fashion. Essentially, fashion is a communicative form of expression. We wear certain garments or clothes to signal something to the people we interact with. It identifies us with certain tribes or certain lifestyles or certain things that we hold dear and important. It's something that is so immediate and often visceral. So it's important to recognize that it is a language and it is evolving. If we ignore trends, we won't see the nuances, the new ideas, or the new kind of means of expression that will still be relevant to what is important to our aesthetic. So don't throw them out. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. What are you, nuts? Get that baby and put it back in the bath. You can just drain the tub.